Inflation and a suddenly unstable banking system mean that most people living today will have to work until the day they die. Some people in the United States are cashing in their pensions.
With high inflation and a suddenly shaky banking system, some Americans are cashing out their retirement funds.
But experts say be careful before you do that.
The statistics all look pretty grim, that in general the amount that people have saved for retirement.
Cash-strapped Americans are raiding their retirement funds prematurely. According to data from Voya, people without enough savings are 13 times more likely to choose this option despite the potential tax penalties for early withdrawals. The rise has financial experts sounding the alarm.
Do not cash that thing out. Cashing out should be the absolute last resort in the most extreme circumstances.
According to Fidelity and Vanguard, withdrawals rose to nearly 2.5% last year. That's up from 1.9% in 2021. A record number of those cash removals were hardship withdrawals to help with emergencies like medical care or possible evictions. But it's not just those in need who are dipping in. Professors at the University of Colorado Boulder studied about 162,000 people leaving their jobs over a 3-year period and found at least 40% of them took some, if not all, of the money out instead of rolling it over into a new plan.
It's basically like you've been working for some company for, in our data, on average 6.6 years. You've been contributing, your employer's been contributing, and now you're back at square zero. No other part of the world allows you to cash out when you're leaving a job.
Retirement is the holy grail for many working professionals. If you put in the time and effort to succeed academically, land a stable job, and consistently put in the effort to save and invest throughout your life, you will be rewarded with an abundance of leisure time in your retirement years. It's not a huge request, but for the vast majority of people in the world today, it will remain just that, a dream. Welcome to Financial Fortune, the channel where we provide you with insights on how to achieve financial security and success. In today's video, we'll be discussing a sobering reality that affects almost everyone alive today, the fact that many of us will have to work until we die. With the rising cost of living and the instability of retirement funds, the prospect of a comfortable retirement is becoming more elusive for many. In this video, we'll explore the reasons behind this trend and provide some practical tips on how to prepare for a more secure future. So, let's dive in.
1 in 6 retirees are considering returning to the workforce. 55% of those people who are considering that want to return because they need the money. That's according to a new survey. A lot of people want to retire. They want to retire early, but how do you know if you have enough money to do that? First off, let's talk about the factors that you need to consider when figuring all that out.
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's really complicated because everyone's situation is different from the other. So when you Google that question, the first thing that comes up is this 4% rule. And what does that even mean? It means that if you need $40,000 of replacement income, then you need $1 million to sustain you over 30 years. But there's lots of questions that brings that up. And what the 4% rule doesn't account for are things like taxes. $1 million in an IRA is very different than $1 million in a joint account. It doesn't account for one-time expenses. So buying a car or taking a vacation or buying a second home. It doesn't take into consideration your asset allocation, which is a whole nother topic, when clients are retiring. Someone that has all bonds probably can't keep up with that 4% rule. And lastly, and I think that we're entering this new age, as you mentioned before I joined on, this different retirement ages. People are starting and stopping. So how do we get around these difficulties? And so that rule of thumb might work for you, but oftentimes it doesn't. And so what do we do about that? Financial advisors will help our clients, and we project out into the future your expenses, your income, these one-time scenarios that you'd like to map out, like a home or a car, and grow all of that into the future and see what trajectory you're on. And that's just, it's tricky, but sometimes just getting help is the first step and having a plan.
Fidelity says the average person should save 10 times their income by age 67 in order to retire comfortably. What do you say?
It's really, again, it's so dependent on someone's situation. Pensions, do you have income coming in? Then you really don't need that much saved. But ultimately, it's not even so much as what you have saved, but it's what you spend. I've seen people that have loads of money saved, but their spending just can't sustain those levels. And I've seen people that have saved much less, but are going to retire very comfortably because of their spending level. So it's both of those in conjunction. It's how much have you saved and how much are you spending, and really getting a handle on both of those to figure out how much you need at retirement.
Catherine, what about where you live? How does that factor in?
It's a great question. Obviously, if you live in a high cost of living area, your expenses are going to be higher. You're going to need more from your portfolio. You're going to need more income. But I would say the number one kind of wrench that can be thrown in a plan is health costs. Health costs are rising rapidly, and we haven't seen stopping. So historically, those costs increase at 6 to 7%. And Genworth has plenty of studies that show, these costs are different across the US. And the most expensive places to have a long-term care effect are Alaska, DC, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. And the least expensive is Missouri, Alabama, Texas, and Oklahoma. So health costs are a really big factor. They're growing significantly. And I think they even said that 7 out of 10 boomers will have a long-term care effect in their lifetime. So it is something that you really have to be prepared for and create a plan for, in addition to just living your daily life.
Catherine, what about inflation? We talk about the fact that people are paying more and more and more in every aspect of their life. And to what extent does that potentially delay retirement?
Inflation is such a hot topic right now because everyone is seeing that inflation is incredibly high, but we just went through a historically low inflation period for quite some time. So when you average it out over long periods of time, it's typically around 3%. And so weathering these high inflation periods, you should also see some low inflation periods. So it's not about what's happening today or tomorrow. It's about what's happening over that 30-year span of retirement. So again, coming up with a plan, coming up with an investment mix that will be able to sustain inflation and your expenses, and not even just inflation for your regular costs, but these health costs that I just mentioned. So coming up with a good stock to bond mix that will help you reach your goals, but also sustain that inflation that is in the news right now.
We hope this video has provided you with some valuable insights into the realities of retirement in today's world. Remember, it's never too early to start planning for your financial future and taking steps to secure it. Whether it's through investing, saving, or finding ways to supplement your income, there are always ways to improve your financial situation. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it with others who may benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative content on finance and personal growth. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.